and allow him to take over your life. It can sound a little bit crazy. Crazy, when you come to think of it, if you say, okay, the crazy faith. Like, what is crazy? How can you define that word crazy? Crazy is just insane. I mean, if you go into a market or you go to town and you see somebody acting weirdly, or somebody screaming their head off, or doing the opposite of everything normal, obviously the first thing you'll say, man, this person is crazy. It just come to your mind, this person is crazy. Well, you bring the terminology of craziness and then you throw it to your faith. That's how crazy it can be. Like when people are thinking out of the normal, no, you're thinking beyond. You're thinking insanity. Because your craziness, because you are trusting God. Your faith, because you are trusting God. Provoking in your finances. Some of us, most of us, we go through struggles in our finances. We are always having issues with our financials. We are always running short of money. Or we are always, like, even though you have a lot of money, you still have debt and mortgage for you to clear. Like, the management money is not really good with us sometimes. And money is always an issue. And when you are being told to tithe, or being taught tithing in your church, or you hear us sharing about tithe, you quickly react to say, how can we talk about those things? Because you need your money, you want your money. The first thing you do, you rebuff against it. Well, for those of you who believe in God, maybe you say to yourself, you raise your hand. Now, it's not taught in our church, but it's written in the Bible for you to do that. Maybe you say to yourself, if I tithe, my church doesn't tithe. You continue to do so. Because what they do, they take your offering. How you do it and how much you put in, that's your own. So if you belong to a church, you do not believe in tithing, tithe anyway, because you're doing it to God. And there is, you're provoking your finances. When you are struggling with your finances, you're looking at this money, every dollar, every cent, it's like you have no spare. And then when you're being told to tithe, it's like you're provoking your finances. And provoking your finances for you to be blessed, for you to have a purpose. I want to share with us this story about our staff. One of our senior staff, he emailed one time, and he said to us, to the management, my phone has been stolen. And my home we had a break-in at home. And when he was sharing whatever that he was going through, then I remember, this is not the first time. The first time his house was robbed, he came in, he told me, and I said, anything stolen? So all the meds, everything was taken. And I said, look, if you need any help for your repairs and everything, let me know. So that was the first time. The second time he emailed, his house got robbed again. So I responded and I told him, I believe maybe your neighborhood think that you're a millionaire. You have a lot of things in your house, first. And second, this is the second time your house has been robbed. And then I said, whatever it is, you need God to look after your property and look after you. And I said this on that email to him. And I said, look, I believe you need to tithe. You need to tithe to your church. So God, as he says in Malachi 3:10, not only he will bless, he will stop the devourer from damaging or from destroying your vineyard. Nothing will happen to your home, and nothing will happen to your children, and you will find salvation. And I was telling him on that same email, maybe you should tithe to your church, for God to look after your home, for your house not to be robbed again, and also to look after your children. And after a while, I kept on asking him. Whenever he comes around, I said, have you started? He said, no. Have you started? He said, no. Okay. You need to do this and then that. When you're working, remember, your wife is not working, you have this number of children. You start planning. Plan to buy your house, plan to buy your car, because you have a family. If something happened to you today, you must always plan something for your family. So our conversation was going that way. And then I turned to him again and I said, have you started tithing? He said, no. So I turned to the payroll, who was doing our payroll, our manager, finance admin, and I told her, look, you deduct his tithe. Deduct his tithe. You tell her where you want your tithe to go, because we will do it for you. If you're not going to, going to do it yourself, then we will help you to do it for you, which we did. And it's amazing. Within 2 weeks, he came back to my office. He came and shared with the manager, finance admin, and they both came, walked into my office and said, what is it? And he said, I came this morning to ask the finance team, when did you start deducting my tithe? And I said, what happened? He said, yesterday I received a phone call to tell me the increase. He's got other things on the side apart from my TV. The increase and what they're offering, and even in the midst of it all, it has a car. It's just amazing. And he sat down in my office and he said, it only took for me to do